Christians claim that Christianity teaches equality. They project their religion as superior, claiming that everyone is equal by birth, there are no inequalities among human beings, and that caste discrimination, unlike in Hinduism, does not exist in Christianity. However, if you actually pick up their Bible and read it, you can easily understand that none of what they say is true. Their God, the Christian God, divides human beings on the basis of caste and race, proclaiming one community as superior and others as inferior. He preaches that one community can keep another as slaves and beat them to work. When we point out this immoral mindset of their God and ask Christians how they can claim to promote equality, do you know what their standard reply is? They will say, "You are talking about the Old Testament. It is not like that in the New Testament." The Christian Bible, as we know, is split into two parts, the Old Testament and the New Testament. So, they claim that it is only in the Old Testament that God categorizes humans by caste and race, calling one group superior and others inferior, and sanctioning the enslavement and beating of other communities for labor. Christians try to bypass this by saying, "We do not worship that God in the Old Testament. We only follow the God of the New Testament." As absurd as it sounds, let us grant them that argument for a moment. Let us assume, as they claim, that God was one way in the Old Testament and completely different in the New Testament. But if you ask whether the New Testament God has actually abolished caste divisions, they point to a specific verse to argue that he has. They argue that he removed all discrimination and established the concept of universal equality, citing a New Testament verse. Galatians chapter 3, verse 28. That verse says, "There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." This particular verse was written by Paul, who calls himself as an apostle of Jesus Christ. Using this verse, Christians assert that Christianity stands for equality, claiming that it completely erased all social ladders, divisions, and caste systems. See, for instance, how some Christians typically argue using this logic in our comment section. One Christian writes this with the header, "The Seeds of Abolition." He says, in the New Testament, Paul writes in Galatians chapter 3, 28 that there is neither slave nor free, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. Another Christian writes this as part of a long comment. Second, God is not racist. He makes it clear that he shows no partiality. God shows no favoritism, Romans 2:11. Then he continues by quoting Galatians 3:28. There is neither Jew nor Greek, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. So Christians claim that Bible teaches equality using this particular verse. But in reality, this verse does not teach social equality at all. Paul is not advocating that human beings in this world should live equal lives free of social hierarchies. Rather, he is simply stating that while social inequality do exist, that inequality will not prevent you from entering heaven. He says, "There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." Why does Paul write like this here? He is teaching what a person must do to be saved and go to heaven. He is just saying, if you believe in Jesus, whether you are a Jew or a Greek, or a slave or a free man, or a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. If you believe in Jesus, you can go to heaven. That's it. Paul is not telling that all humans have equal status on this earth. He is not teaching equality. Whether you are a Jew or a Greek, a slave or free, a male or a female, if you accept Jesus, there is a place for you in heaven. But as long as one lives in the world, a Jew is a Jew, a Greek is a Greek, a slave is a slave, and a free person is free. A male is a male and a female is a female, as long as you live on earth. That inequality will remain. Paul does not say it has disappeared. Now, just think about it. Why do Christians support Israel? Do you know why? Because they are Jews. The people of Israel are Jews. According to the Bible, Jews are God's chosen people. God chose them as His own, gave them promises, and regards Jews as special. God also promised that whoever helps the Jews will be blessed. That is why Christians around the world support Israel and stand with them during times of war. Now imagine this. In Galatians 3:28, Paul says, "There is neither Jew nor Greek." If that truly meant Jews were equal to all other races, why do Christians still claim that Jews are God's chosen people? Why do they say Jews are special people for God? It is completely absurd, isn't it? So clearly, Paul is not teaching in Galatians 3:28 that God has removed all inequality and treats everyone equally on earth. There is one more contradiction in what Christians claim. Now, based on this verse, they claim that the Bible teaches equality, right? Here Paul says, neither male nor female. So doesn't that mean man and woman are equal, both have equal rights? A woman is not inferior to a man and a man is not superior to a woman? It should mean so if this verse teaches equality. But the very same Paul who wrote this verse says in another place that a woman must be subject to a man and be obedient to a man. Look at that. 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 12. He says, "I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet." Here Paul says a woman should not teach a man. That is, a woman does not have the right to teach a man. She should be quiet. This is in the New Testament. Then how can they claim the New Testament says man and woman are equal? They are not equal according to the Bible, especially according to the New Testament. What is even more ridiculous is why women should not teach men. Do you know why women should not teach men according to the Bible? See what Paul says in the very next verse, verse 13. For Adam was formed first, then Eve. Paul is saying when God created humans, He created the man first and the woman second. God Himself created man as superior and woman as inferior. Therefore, a woman should not teach a man. This is the reason Paul gives for why women should not teach men. Now tell me, isn't it a complete lie to claim that the Christian God created human beings as equal? Furthermore, if you read the creation narrative in the Old Testament, God did not even have the initial plan to create a woman. Only after creating man did He realize he is alone, so let us make a helper for him. The woman was created merely as an afterthought and a helper. Thus, the very foundation of the Bible itself is flawed. According to the Bible, their God not only created humans with inherent inequalities right from creation, but later went on to classify them on the basis of caste and race as well. Therefore, Galatians 3:28 does not teach social equality among human beings. It only says that anyone can go to heaven by accepting Jesus. But as long as you live in this world, a Jew is a Jew and a Reddy is a Reddy. That's why Christians in India continue to use their caste identities such as Nadar, Muhammad, Madigas, Chardas, Chuhras, Vaniyar, Mudaliyar and Panikar. So if you want to eradicate caste divisions within Indian Christianity, you will have to correct the Bible itself. If you don't want to do that, no matter how much noise you make, it will serve no purpose.